Hello everyone, myself Manju Sharma from Suresh Gyanvyar University, Jagatpura, Jaipur, and the Department School of Agriculture. So today we are going to discuss about binomial system of nomenclature. So first of all, there are some definitions or some basics about nomenclature. So let's come taxonomy and nomenclature. Taxonomy, that is science that studies the organism in order to arrange them into group. So that is called the taxonomy. Organisms with similar properties are grouped together. Identification, that is process of characterizing organism using a scheme specific for classification. Classification, that is a process of arranging organisms into similar or related groups, so done on the basis of phenotype or genotype. After that, nomenclature. Nomenclature, that means is the naming of organism. So phylogenetic tree. Phylogenetic or evolutionary tree, that means a branching diagram or tree showing the infer or evolutionary relationship among various biological species or other entities which based upon similarities and differences in their physical or genetic characteristics. So basically a phylogenetic tree which represent uh, like what is the relationship among the various biological species or their entities, or basically which is based upon their similarities and differences and in their physical or genetic characteristics, that is called phylogenetic tree or evolutionary tree. So we can say that with the help of evolutionary tree, we can say that like what is the relationship between the species, okay, and how or from where their evolution was there. So both classification and nomenclature are governed by International Code of Botanical Nomenclature in order to devise a stable method of naming various taxa as per binomial nomenclature. Genus and species represent the name of an organism. So binomial, when written, should be underlined or italicized when it will be printed. First letter of the genus should be capital and is commonly as noun, while species is often an adjective. So an example for binomial can be cited as like kingdom is fungi, division is Eumycota, subdivision is Basidiomycotina, class Teleomycetes, order is Eurydiales, family is Pucciniaceae, and genus is Puccinia, and ultimately the species is the Gramineae. So that is the uh, like a number or a series of the classification, like how we have to write or how we have to do the classification. Like first of all we have to represent the kingdom, then the division, then subdivision, then class, order, family, genus, and then species. So there are certain criteria and methods which used for classification and identification of bacteria. So criteria and methods are like morphological characteristics. So on the basis of this, only classification is not there, but we can identification. Differential staining, so we can classify it by differential staining, or also we can do the identification. Then by biochemical testing, classification is not there, but identification is there. Serology, classification is not there, but identification is there. Phase typing, classification is not there, but identification is there by serology. By phase typing, classification is not there, but identification is there. Fatty acid properties, classification is not there, but identification is there. Flow cytometry, classification is not, but identification is there. DNA based composition, classification is there, but identification is not there. Then DNA fingerprinting, classification is not there, but identification will be there. RNA sequencing, classification is there, but not identification is not there. Then by the RNA sequencing, classification is there, but no identification. By PCR, classification and identification is there. And nucleic acid hybridization, classification will be there, or identification will be also there. So basically, these are the criteria and methods which used for the classification or identification of bacteria. Like here, firstly we are isolate, then we have to prepare the tubes, then we will inoculate, then incubate and read, and ultimately we can classify them. So there is the anatomy of a Janthod identification. The idea is Stenotrophomonas maltophylla. So 71 carbon source plus 23 chemical sensitive assay, by which we can also do the classification of bacteria. So basically, the classification, which is based on the microscopy, colony morphology, biochemical test. So first is microscopy. So microscopy, gram staining, acid fast staining, cell morphology, and cell arrangement. Then by colony morphology, size, color of the colony, size of the colony, border and shape of the colony, and growth on different media. And third one is biochemical test. In biochemical test, including pH indicator or chemical reaction. So basically, the bacterial classification, which is based on these things like microscopy, colony morphology, and biochemical test. Now, Burgess Manual of Systematic Bacteriology. Bacteriology, in which we will do the study about the bacteria. So we can say that prokaryotic organisms are that in which nucleus is primitive, type and nuclear material is not enclosed within the nuclear membrane. Prokaryotes, pro that means primitive, and karyon word which used for the nucleus. So basically the nucleus is primitive type or the nuclear material which will be not enclosed within the nuclear membrane, that is called the prokaryotic organism. And we can say that they don't have any defined shape. So bacteria are placed in the kingdom Prokaryote because of the prokaryotic cellular organization of the members. However, extremely diverse group of microorganisms differing in morphological, physiological and ecological properties are found within the kingdom. So, in the beginning, description and information of bacterial systematics or the classification was being published in the comprehensive volumes of Burgess Manuals of Determinative Bacteriology, and it was in 1923, and that is the first edition of Burgess Manual Determinative Bacteriology. So, the eighth edition of Burgess Manual, published in 1974, was the last of such comprehensive manual. So, from 1984 onwards, it was renamed as Burgess Manual of Systematic Bacteriology, and before that it was Burgess Manual of Determinative Bacteriology. Then the name was changed, and it was confirmed that Burgess Manual of Systematic Bacteriology. So it is the most widely accepted and used references document or book for classification and identification of bacteria. Burgess Manual consists of four separate volumes, and each volume is further divided into the different groups. First volume, in which 1 to 11 sections are there. In second volume there are 12 to 17 sections. In third volume 18 to 25 sections are there, and in fourth volume 26 to 33 sections are there. So, there is the brief classification of bacteria or prokaryotes of significance in agriculture and allied fields. So, it is given in the Burgess Manual of Systematic Bacteriology is available, and basically there is a link also given, so you can go through it. Now, prokaryote classification and their diversity. So, the two prokaryote domains, bacteria and archaea, split from each other early in the evolution of life. So, bacteria are very diverse, ranging from disease causing pathogens to beneficial photosynthesizer and symbiote. Now, the archaea are also diverse, but None are pathogenic, and many live in extreme environments. So, a DNA sequencing approach that is called metagenomics lets scientists identify new species of bacteria and archaea, including ones that can't be cultured. So, for a long time, all prokaryotes were classified into a single domain, and that was the largest taxonomic grouping. However, work by microbiologist Carl Bouze in the 1970s showed that prokaryotes are divided into two distinct lineages or lines of descent, archaea and bacteria. So today these groups are considered to form two out of three domains of life. So the third domain is eukarya, includes all the eukaryotes such as plants, animals and fungi. Since splitting off from one another millions of years ago, both bacteria and archaea have split off into many groups and species. So, first is the bacteria. So, domain bacteria, which contains five major groups, in which proteobacteria, chlamydias, spirochetes, cyanobacteria, and gram-positive bacteria. So, the proteobacteria are subdivided into five groups: alpha through epsilon. So, species in these groups have a wide range of lifestyles. Some are symbiotic with plant, like both the species which get the benefit. Other live in hot vents deep under the sea, and other yet cause human diseases, so such as stomach ulcer and food poisoning. Stomach ulcer, which basically caused by the Heliobacter pylori. Like here, the class is alpha proteobacteria and their representative organism and their micrograph. So, the alpha proteobacteria, some species of proteobacteria, but some are the symptoms of plants and animal, and others are pathogens. So, the other four major groups or bacteria are similarly diverse. First is chlamydias. So the chlamydias are pathogens that live inside the host cells. Then cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are photosynthesizer that make much of Earth's oxygen. Then spirochetes, which include both harmless bacteria and harmful ones like the Borrelia burgdorferi that cause Lyme disease. So the same is true of gram-positive bacteria, which range from probiotic bacteria in yogurt to the bacteria that is anthraxes that cause anthrax. So here, like Chlamydias, there are the phylum of bacteria, Chlamydias, Spirochetes, Cyanobacteria, and gram-positive bacteria. So Chlamydias, all members of this group are obligate intracellular parasites of animal cells, cell wall lack peptidoglycan. Their representative organisms are Chlamydia tracheomatis, common sexually transmitted disease that can lead to then their relative representative micrograph. So in this pap smear, that is Chlamydia trachomatis, appears as pink inclusion inside the cells. Then the next is the spirochetes. Spirochetes, most members of this species which has spiral shaped cells are free living anaerobes, but some are pathogenic. Flagella run lengthwise in the periplasmic space between the inner and outer membrane. Their representative organism is Treponema pallidum, the causative agent of syphilis, Borrelia burgdorferi, causative agent of Lyme disease. Then cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae, these bacteria obtain their energy through photosynthesis, so they are ubiquitous, found in terrestrial, marine, and freshwater environments. So eukaryotic chloroplasts are thought to be divided uh, from bacteria in this group. Their representative, like there is the Prochlorococcus, believed to be the most abundant photosynthetic organism on earth. So Prochlorococcus, believed to be the most abundant photosynthetic organism on earth, responsible for generating half the world's oxygen. Then the gram positive bacteria. So gram positive bacteria, these are soil dwelling members of this subgroup, decompose organic matter. Some species cause disease. They have a thick cell wall and lack an outer membrane. Bacillus anthracis, Bacillus anthracis causes anthrax. So these are the Clostridium botulinum, cause of botulism, Clostridium difficile, cause diarrhea during the antibiotic agent, streptomyces. Many antibiotics, including streptomycin, are divided from these bacteria. Then Mycoplasma, these tiny bacteria, the smallest known, lack a cell wall. Some are free living and some are pathogenic. After that, archaea. Now, archaea. Archaea, that is, so far, no archaea that are human pathogens have yet been discovered. Archaea do live in our bodies and those of animals, for instance, in the gut. But all of them seem to be harmless or beneficial. Although there are hypotheses, no one yet knows exactly why archaea are friendly, why no disease causing species have evolved. So many extremophile species are also there that live in much more inhospitable places like volcanic hot springs, undersea hot vents, and very salty places like the Dead Sea. So there is the Urea Chiota, their representative organism. So Euarchia. So this phylum includes methanogens, which produce methane as a metabolic waste product, and halobacteria, which live in an extreme saline environment. Their representative organisms like methanogens, methane production causes flatulence in humans and other animals. Halobacteria, which large blooms of the salt-loving archaea, appear reddish due to the presence of bacteria Hodgkin in the membrane. The bacteria is related to the retinal pigment that is rhodopsin. Then core Archaeopota, there is the members of this phylum considered to be one of the most primitive forms of life, have only been found in the Obsidian Pool, a hot spring, and Yellowstone National Park. Their representative organisms, no member of this species, have been cultivated. Next is the kingdom fungi. So there is the general characters of fungi, their definition of fungus, somatic structures, types of fungal thalli, fungal tissues, modification of thallus, reproduction in fungi, asexual and sexual. So let's start with the general characters of fungi. Fungi are the eukaryotic, chlorophyllous, and unicellular or multicellular organisms which may reproduce by asexual and sexual spores. Study of fungi, which is called mycology. Italian botanist, that is P.A. Micheli, which proposed fungi comes from the spores, father of mycology. Father of mycology, that is the P.A. Micheli, and study of fungi, which is called mycology. All are eukaryotic, possess membrane-bound nuclei containing chromosome and a range of membrane-bound cytoplasmic organelles. Example: mitochondria, vacuoles, endoplasmic reticulum. Next, most are filamentous, like composed of individual microscopic filament that is called hyphae, which exhibit apical growth and which branch to form a network of hyphae that is called mycelium. So, in which some are unicellular, for example, yeast. Protoplasm of a hypha or cell is surrounded by a rigid wall composed pre composed primarily of chitin and glucans. So basically, the cell wall of the fungi, which is made by chitin. Although the walls of some species contain cellulose, so many reproduce both sexually and asexually. Both sexual and asexual reproduction often result in the production of spores. So their nuclei are typical haploid and Hyphal compartments are often multinucleate. All the Oomycota and some yeast possess diploid nuclei. All are achlorophyllous, so the lack of chlorophyll pigment and are incapable of photosynthesis. So all are chemo heterotropic, chemo organotropic. They utilize pre-existing organic source of carbon, they, their environment, and the energy from chemical reaction to synthesize the organic compounds they require for growth and energy. In other words, a fungus must digest food to live, possess characteristics range of strong compounds, example tree haloes, glycogen, sugar, alcohol and lipid. So they may be free living, or may form intimate relationship with other organisms like maybe they are free living, some are parasitic, or some are mutualistic, or we can say that symbiotic. So these all are the general characters of fungi. So basically, the fungi are eukaryotic, lack of the chlorophyll, and unicellular or multicellular organism which may reproduce by asexual or sexual spores. And basically there will be two types of spore formation, like in asexual reproduction asexual spores will be there, or during the sexual reproduction sexual spores will be there. Seconds.
मतलब क्या है?
Defense mechanism in plants. Basically, the plant defends themselves against pathogen by two ways: structural or morphological characteristics that act as a physical barriers, pre-existing structural defend structure in which includes like waxes, cuticle and epidermal cells, sclerenchyma cells, structure of natural openings, stomata, lenticles, post-infection structural defense mechanism. So, in which, like, first is histological defense structure, cork layer, then abscission layer, tylosis, cellular defenses structure, and hyphal sheathing. The biochemical defense mechanism either toxic or create conditions that inhibit the growth of pathogen, pre-existing chemical defenses in which the first is inhibitor released by the plant in its environment, inhibitors present in plant cells before infection. Then, secondly, post infectional or induced defense mechanism in which first is phytolexins, phyton that means plant, allergens to ward off, and the characteristics of phytolexins: hypersensitive response, cellular responses during hypersensitivity, and the C is plant bodies. So first is the structural or morphological characteristics that act as a physical barriers. So in which structural defense structure, amount and quality of wax and cuticle covering epidermal cells. Secondly, presence of thick-walled cells in the tissues of the plant that hinder the advance of the pathogen. Then, the size, location, and shapes of natural openings. We can say that stomata and lenticles and waxes. Waxes on leaf and fruit surfaces form a hydrophobic or water repellent surface, preventing the germination of fungi and multiplication of bacteria. The B is cuticle and epidermal cells increases resistant to infection in diseases in which the pathogen enters its host only through direct penetration, so is the only way for the pathogen. Then the third thing is the sclerenchyma cells. Sclerenchyma cells in stem and leaf veins effectively blocks the spread of some fungal and bacterial pathogens that cause angular leaf spots. The D is structure of natural openings in which first is stomata and the secondly is lenticles. Stomata functional resistance. Plants in which stomata open late in the day are resistant to some fungi, so the germ tubes of some fungal spores germinate in the night dew. They desiccate as the dew evaporates before stomata begin to open. For example, wheat varieties like cultivar hope. The second is the lenticles. So lenticles are small and suberized. Lenticles will offer resistance in which suberian, inert, impermeable, waxy substances present in the cell walls of corky tissues. Then the post-infectional structural defense mechanism induce structural barriers in which first is the histological defense structure cork layer. Cork layer formation of layers of cork cell beyond the point of infection. The, this inhibits further invasion beyond the initial lesions, then block the spread of toxins, then abscission layers, gap formed between infected and healthy cells of a leaf surrounding the locus of infection due to the disintegration of the middle lamella of parenchymatous tissue, gradually infected area shrivels, dies, and slots off, carrying with it the pathogen. Then the tylosis, overgrowth of the protoplast of adjacent living parenchymatous cell, protrude into xylem vessels through the pits. Then, formed quickly ahead of the pathogen, may clog and block xylem vessels, completely preventing further advance of pathogen in resistant varieties. Then, the second method is the cellular defense structure, in which the first is the hyphal sheathing. Hypha penetrates the cell wall and grows into the cell lumen, becomes enveloped by a cellulosic sheath that is callose, formed by extension of cell wall, which become infused with phenolic substances. biochemical defense mechanism either toxic or create conditions that inhibit the growth of pathogen, in which the first is pre-existing chemical defenses, second inhibitors released by the plants in its environment, inhibitors present in plant cell before infection. Then the second is post-infectional or induced defense mechanism, in which the first is the phytolexins, hypersensitive response, and plant bodies. There are some examples of inhibitors which released by the plants in its environment. So example 1 is the tomato leaves which secrete exudates which are inhibitory to botrytis cinerea. Second example, red scale of red onion contain the phenolic compound protocatavic acid and catechol, which diffuse out to the surface and inhibits the conidial germination of onion smudge fungus Colletotrichum quinscens. However, these fungi-toxic phenolic compounds are missing in white-scalled onion. Third example, resistant varieties of apple which secreted waxes on the leaf surface which prevents the germination of Podosphaera leucotricha, that is disease caused by the that is powdery mildew of apples. Fourth example, in Cicer ariantium, that is chickpea. So the Ascochyta blight resistant varieties have more glandular hairs which have malic acid which inhibit the spore germination. Then, example 5, resistant varieties of linseed secrete HCN inroads which are inhibitory to linseed wilt, wilt pathogen, that is Fusarium oxysporum. Thank you.